A chronological Bible in 365 episodes. This is episode 307, containing portions of the Gospels of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, continuing in Matthew 27:11. Now Jesus stood before the governor, and the governor asked him, saying, "Are you the king of the Jews?" So Jesus said to him, "It is as you say." And while he was being accused by the chief priests and elders, he answered nothing. Then Pilate said to him, "Do you not hear how many things they testify against you?" But he answered him not one word, so that the governor marveled greatly. Now at the feast, the governor was accustomed to releasing to the multitude one prisoner whom they wished. And at that time they had a notorious prisoner called Barabbas. Therefore, when they had gathered together, Pilate said to them, "Whom do you want me to release to you, Barabbas or Jesus, who is called Christ?"
For he knew that they had handed him over because of envy.
While he was sitting on the judgment seat, his wife sent to him, saying, "Have nothing to do with that just man, for I have suffered many things today in a dream because of him." But the chief priests and elders persuaded the multitudes that they should ask for Barabbas and destroy Jesus.
The governor answered and said to them, "Which of the two do you want me to release to you?" They said, "Barabbas."
Pilate said to them, "What then shall I do with Jesus, who is called Christ?" They all said to him, "Let him be crucified."
Then the governor said, "Why? What evil has he done?" But they cried out all the more, saying, "Let him be crucified."
When Pilate saw that he could not prevail at all, but rather that a tumult was rising, he took water and washed his hands before the multitude, saying, "I am innocent of the blood of this just person. You see to it."
And all the people answered and said, "His blood be on us and our children."
Then he released Barabbas to them, and when he had scourged Jesus, he delivered him to be crucified.
Then the soldiers of the governor took Jesus into the praetorium and gathered the whole garrison around him.
And they stripped him and put a scarlet robe on him.
Then they twisted a crown of thorns. They put it on his head and a reed in his right hand. And they bowed the knee before him and mocked him, saying, "Hail, King of the Jews!"
Then they spat on him and took the reed and struck him on the head.
And when they had mocked him, they took the robe off of him, put on his own clothes on him, and led him away to be crucified.
Continuing in Mark 15:2, then Pilate asked him, "Are you the king of the Jews?" He answered and said to him, "It is as you say."
And the chief priests accused him of many things, but he answered nothing.
Then Pilate asked him again, saying, "Do you answer nothing? See how many things they testify against you."
But Jesus still answered nothing, so Pilate marveled.
Now at the feast he was accustomed to releasing one prisoner to them, whomever they requested.
And there was one named Barabbas, who was chained with his fellow rebels. They had committed murder in the rebellion.
Then the multitude, crying aloud, began to ask him to do just as he had always done for them.
But Pilate answered them, saying, "Do you want me to release to you the king of the Jews?"
For he knew that the chief priests had handed him over because of envy.
But the chief priests stirred up the crowd so that he should rather release Barabbas to them.
Pilate answered and said to them again, "What then do you want me to do with him whom you call the King of the Jews?"
So they cried out again, "Crucify him!"
Then Pilate said to them, "Why? What evil has he done?" But they cried out all the more, "Crucify him."
So Pilate, wanting to gratify the crowd, released Barabbas to them, and he delivered Jesus, after he scourged him, to be crucified.
Then the soldiers led him away into the hall called Praetorium, and they called together the whole garrison.
And they clothed him with purple, and they twisted a crown of thorns, put it on his head,
and began to salute him, "Hail, King of the Jews!"
Then they struck him on the head with a reed and spat on him, and bowing the knee, they worshipped him.
And when they had mocked him, they took the purple off him, put his own clothes on him, and led him out to crucify him.
Continuing in Luke 22:63, Now the men who held Jesus mocked him and beat him, and having blindfolded him, they had struck him on the face and asked him, saying, Prophesy, who is the one who struck you?
And many other things they blasphemously spoke against him.
Then the whole multitude of them arose and led him to Pilate.
And they began to accuse him, saying, We found this fellow perverting the nation and forbidding to pay taxes to Caesar, saying that he himself is Christ, a king.
Then Pilate asked him, saying, Are you the king of the Jews? He answered him and says, It is as you say.
So Pilate said to the chief priests and the crowd, I find no fault in this man.
But they were the more fierce, saying, He stirs up the people, teaching throughout all Judea, beginning from Galilee to this place.
When Pilate heard of Galilee, he asked if the man were a Galilean.
And as soon as he knew that he belonged to Herod's jurisdiction, he sent him to Herod, who was also in Jerusalem at that time.
Now when Herod saw Jesus, he was exceedingly glad, for he had desired for a long time to see him, because he had heard many things about him, and he hoped to see some miracle done by him.
Then he questioned him with many words, but he answered him nothing.
And the chief priests and scribes stood and vehemently accused him.
Then Herod, with his men of war, treated him with contempt and mocked him, arrayed him in a gorgeous robe, and sent him back to Pilate.
That very day Pilate and Herod became friends with each other, for previously they had been at enmity with each other.
Then Pilate, when he had called together the chief priests, the rulers, and the people,
said to them, You have brought this man to me as one who misleads the people. And indeed, having examined him in your presence, I have found no fault in this man concerning those things of which you accuse him.
No, neither did Herod, for I sent you back to him, and indeed nothing deserving of death has been done by him.
I will therefore chastise him and release him.
For it was necessary for him to release one to them at the feast.
And they all cried out at once, saying, Away with this man, and release to us Barabbas,
who had been thrown into prison for a certain rebellion made in the city and for murder.
Pilate, therefore, wishing to release Jesus, again called out to them.
But they shouted, saying, Crucify him, crucify him.
Then he said to them the third time, Why, what evil has he done? I have found no reason for death in him. I will therefore chastise him and let him go.
But they were insistent, demanding with loud voices that he be crucified, and the voices of these men and of the chief priests prevailed.
So Pilate gave sentence that it should be as they requested.
And he released to them the one they requested, who for rebellion and murder had been thrown into prison. But he delivered Jesus to their will.
Continuing in John 18. Then they led Jesus from Caiaphas to the praetorium, and it was early morning. But they themselves did not go into the praetorium, lest they should be defiled, but that they might eat the Passover.
Pilate then went out to them and said, What accusation do you bring against this man?
They answered and said to him, If he were not an evildoer, we would not have delivered him up to you.
Then Pilate said to him, You take him and judge him according to your law. Therefore the Jews said to him, It is not lawful for us to put anyone to death.
That the saying of Jesus might be fulfilled which he spoke, signifying by what death he would die.
Then Pilate entered the praetorium again, called Jesus, and said to him, Are you the king of the Jews?
Jesus answered him, Are you speaking for yourself about this? Or did others tell you this concerning me?
And Pilate answered, Am I a Jew? Your own nation and the chief priests have delivered you to me. What have you done?
Jesus answered, My kingdom is not of this world. If my kingdom were of this world, my servants would fight, so that I should not be delivered to the Jews, but now my kingdom is not from here.
Pilate therefore said to him, Are you a king then? Jesus answered, You say rightly that I am a king. For this cause I was born, and for this cause I have come into the world, that I should bear witness to the truth. Everyone who is of the truth hears my voice.
Pilate said to him, What is truth? And And when he had said this, he went out again to the Jews and said to them, I find no fault in him at all.
But you have a custom that I should release someone to you at the Passover. Do you therefore want me to release to you the King of the Jews?
Then they all cried again, saying, Not this man, but Barabbas. Now Barabbas was a robber.
So then Pilate took Jesus and scourged him.
And the soldiers twisted a crown of thorns and put it on his head, and they put on him a purple robe.
Then they said, Hail, King of the Jews! And they struck him with their hands.
Pilate then went out again and said to them, Behold, I am bringing him out to you, that you may know that I find no fault in him.
Then Jesus came out wearing the crown of thorns and the purple robe. And Pilate said to them, Behold the man!
Therefore, when the chief priests and officers saw him, they cried out, saying, Crucify him! Crucify him! Pilate said to them, You take him and crucify him, for I find no fault in him.
The Jews answered him, We have a law, and according to our law he ought to die, because he made himself the Son of God.
Therefore, when Pilate heard that saying, he was the more afraid,
and went again into the praetorium and said to Jesus, Where are you from? But Jesus gave him no answer.
Then Pilate said to him, Are you not speaking to me? Do you not know that I have power to crucify you and power to release you?
Jesus answered, You could have no power at all against me unless it had been given to you from above. Therefore, the one who delivered me to you has the greater sin.
From then on, Pilate sought to release him. But the Jews cried out, saying, If you let this man go, you are not Caesar's friend. Whoever makes himself a king speaks against Caesar.
When Pilate therefore heard that saying, he brought Jesus out and sat down in the judgment seat, in a place that is called the Pavement, but in Hebrew, Gabbatha.
Now it was the preparation day of the Passover, at about the 6th hour. And he said to the Jews, Behold your king.
And they cried out, Away with him! Away with him! Crucify him! Pilate said to them, Shall I crucify your king? The chief priests answered, We have no king but Caesar.
Then he delivered him to them to be crucified. So they took Jesus and led him away.
You're listening to One Gospel with Heath and Holly. Be sure to like our videos and subscribe.